empowers and opens up horizons. As a school leader, I'm open to all avenues that will pour knowledge into me, and I will use that knowledge to transform myself to become a better manager, better leader, better team leader. We have got one of the things that we were told yesterday, the opening statements, was that type of leadership. And let me quote it, the Kideri, whereby you bring all people on board and put all those ideas in one basket, get a leader who can transform them for the betterment of the child.
Training is important because knowledge is not static, it's very dynamic. It keeps on changing. New content, new policies, new pedagogies are churned every other day. And therefore, that's why it is important to expose oneself in or to trainings, seminars, or anything that is going to empower one professional.
For me, as a school leader, training is everything. Nobody owns knowledge, and knowledge is not static. It keeps on changing and evolving. And the more it evolves, the more you're required to learn. So if you have an open heart to learning, leadership becomes easy. It's one way of making leadership very easy.
Main problem is inadequate resources and even inadequate finance, because CBC requires a lot of
that we experience is on the inadequacy of resources. For example, we are talking about laboratories. When the GSS began, we had no laboratories in our institutions. Here it is a situation where the learners are supposed to conduct experiments. How do they go about these experiments? Those are just case scenarios where we are facing challenges, the inadequacy of resources. In this case, the laboratories are not there.
I've been supporting them through doing development, curriculum development, to sit together, discuss issues about the the problems that they are facing. We sit together and discuss. Then we are trying to provide Wi-Fi. We have not had Wi-Fi in the school because of the underfunding. So I'm trying to provide the Wi-Fi for them so that teaching can be easy. Teaching and learning can be easy.
Training is a very important part of growth and making sure that everything goes on well. Because most of the times there are things that we have learned that are either outdated, changes come, and we need to unlearn them. Sometimes when you tell somebody informally, when they get the information from the same people, it does not have the same impact as when you are put in a forum that allows you to share your ideas with people that are going through the same situation as you are.
As I said earlier, a lot of retooling and a lot of training. So I, myself, and as the head of institution of a private institution called Fairfield in Mombasa County, we are known to be doing a lot of retooling for our teachers, retooling, in-house retooling, where we source for the champions who have been trained by the KICD, the Ministry of Education, the Teacher Service Commission, who as the curriculum supporters. So they are able to come and facilitate those retooling in our school so that no teacher is left out. All the teachers
I've encouraged my teacher, especially those who are attending semester, to have links that learners can use, and then they can now engage even in virtual laboratory. That is the use of ICT in the doing of experimentations. So we are using virtual laboratories where we may not be in a position to have a physical laboratory in a school, like in my situation. So the virtual laboratories are there, they are working, and learners are able to follow through what the teacher is teaching without necessarily having to go to a physical lab.
We have the stakeholders, that is the parents, the BOM. We come together, that is like we have created a lab, a temporary lab, whereby they do their work within the school, and what we cannot, we get from the neighboring institutions, the high schools that we have. And the children also participate in using the local materials to assist us.
I'm lucky as a school, I have a school farm whereby I have planted most of the things that we may need for the practicals. Children have gone to the shamba for agriculture and planted their own vegetables and fruit plants and what. It may not be enough, but it has really assisted in mitigating some of this problem, inadequacy of the resources.
As a school leader, continuous training is very important, because as a leader, you must be a reader. So you need to get the emerging issues, what changes are there, because education is dynamic. So it changes from one time to another. So we need a lot of information and knowledge as we lead the school.
I'm excited. I'm excited to get an opportunity that is very timely. This is an area that as school leaders we struggle, despite our much reading, despite there's so much consultation. Sometimes you get ideas that are contradicting, you are not so sure. When I leave this place, I am leaving as somebody who is knowledgeable. I will be making my decisions in the school from a point of knowledge. So for me, I'm excited to be here. It's something that I I'm not expecting, but something good that has happened.
The challenges that mostly are found in schools, you will find that there is teacher shortage. There is also lack of infrastructure. Mostly those two affect the school setup. And before we even OTSC send some teachers to our schools, we use the primary school teachers to teach those learners in the junior schools. Now, when they came, still we found that they are not enough. They are not adequate to teach those lessons or the learners. And therefore, what we also do, you find that we have now to take some teachers from the primary level so that they can assist them. As we know, most of the schools right now, possibly if they have many teachers, they may only be 3. Like my school, I only have three teachers. And looking at the number of subjects that they're supposed to be taught, that is why now you have to take those teachers from the primary level so that they can assist in those areas. Now, when we come to the lack of infrastructure, like we may not be having enough, or the government has not yet built up to now some classes. So we normally use those classes that they used previously when they were in primary, so that they can learn from there. And then since they are in junior school, we expect them to be sitting on lockers. But since up to now we don't have enough funds to buy those lockers, that is why we make them use those basics that they used in the primary section. When it comes to lack of laboratories, that is where now we take them to the nearby schools, secondary schools, so that they can at least learn some of those areas that need some laboratories.
One of the major challenges I'm facing is on human resource. As for now, I have 2 grades 7 and 8, with only 3 teachers. And these teachers take specific subject. So you realize that some of the subjects are not catered for.
One big challenge is understaffing, which we have tried to solve it by taking up qualified teachers from the primary level to take up some subjects in the JSS. And in terms of ICT, we tried to provide some tools, make sure they are available, giving the teachers bundles, making sure we maintain those tools so that they'll be able to teach efficiently.
The approach of app-based is okay because we are living in a technology world. You cannot learn from technology. So one thing I like, because we are being trained how to use these apps, so it is for us to embrace it. And to me, I see it is a wonderful one, because we have to embrace technology, whether you like it or not. We are living in the world of technology. The approach of app-based is okay because we are living in a technology world. You cannot learn from technology. So one thing I like, because we are being trained how to use these apps, so it is for us to embrace it. And to me, I see it is a wonderful one because we have to embrace technology, whether you like it or not. We are living in the world of technology.
This training is very important at this level because we are getting a lot of information that we are not sure of, and it has come at the right time because it's going to make us better, more effective leaders than we were before. And because of the new technology that's coming in, we believe we are going to get to be strong and be able to monitor the curriculum implementation well in our institutions.
I appreciate the organizers came in VUB. It's a very wonderful training. It will help me as a leader to become an efficient leader. Because from here I'll go and cascade what I have learned to my, first of all, to my teachers and also to my fellow head teachers in my zone. So to me it is a wonderful training.
Training is important, and especially to us school leaders, because we have to lead by example. So in CBC implementation, it is us to lead the other teachers. So we need to get the right knowledge, we need to get the right skills. Even the attitude we had before needs to be changed so that we are able now to impart the right knowledge and skills to the teachers. When we acquire this knowledge also, it will help us to know what the approaches we are going to use to ensure that now the program succeeds, because definitely it has to succeed. So we need to assist the teachers. We also need to assist the parents, because it is us they rely on. In most cases, they tell us it is you to tell us, it is you to guide us on what we are supposed to do as parents. So we need to get the right knowledge, skills, and also change of attitude.
I feel very strongly that these trainings, for example, the one we have with you, the increase program, is making us be very innovative. It is going to address my weaknesses. Very passionate on the ICT aspect, because we have realized that Kenya is on the 21st century skills, and our learners need also to have these skills.
So we want to focus on digital literacy for learning. So here, the key word here that as we discuss this is for learning. Because if you look at ESL, we are focusing on school leadership for effective teaching, and so you as a head, as a leader of that particular school, how effective are you when it comes to digital literacy? And if you are effective enough in that school, how effective are your teachers? Because if you are the teacher number one, you are the driver of the whole school. So if it finds that, like Martin was talking about having a feature phone, mulika mwizi. How many of us have got mulika mwizi? Katalia tu. Two, eh? You still have them. How many of us, you can find the city has said information on the wall, alafu nasema siku nimefungua data. Oh, ama moto ilikuwa imeisha. And no, you are the CEO of that. Na hauna nini? Hauna data. You know, I put a very different question. Supposing you are in a vehicle where Nairobi, or even forget to put fuel in the vehicle. Na mafuta imeisha na ni saa 9 ya usiku. Utasema nini? Can happen, isn't it? Now, if you are the head of school, hauna data, hauna fuel, hauna moto kwa simu.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why we are giving you this, it's because we want you to go and help your teachers to interpret. Up to now, we are having so many teachers who have challenges in the interpretation of curriculum designs. And as we say, if they are not able to interpret the curriculum designs, they will have the wrong schemes of work. They will have the wrong lesson plans. They will have the wrong lesson notes. You know, everything will just be a mess, isn't it? So the reason why we want you to know all these things is because we want you to go and facilitate those teachers as they implement the curriculum. I know even there's some of you here who are also teachers. You have some learning areas that you are teaching, isn't it? So that is all what you want. You go through, then from there we take you through the professional documents. In CBC, how many professional documents are we looking at? Some of those approaches that we have been told to adopt are learner-centered. We are getting away from a teacher-centered lesson to a learner-centered lesson.
Ile kitu yenye nafanya tunaongea mambo mingi ni CBC implementation. Hii story tunapika yote hii suite tunaitisha hiyo notebook is focusing on how we can implement the competence-based curriculum. Then we went further and said there's another unit. Then you call unit what? 3. About how to make this child walk. Either utamweka karibu na ukuta, asimamie kwa ukuta kwanza, si ndio? Akishazoea kusimama, unashika yeye mkono mnatembea. Anaona utamu wa kutembea. Now as you walk at support. Through putting the hand or even holding something good na amesimama, unapokuja uchukue, si ndio? They moves toward that direction. So this child do well. Now, how do we support this child to be able to walk? Support programs around that particular child. That is basically what. Now, you have area. It seems we have a problem because the other things are just enablers. What you are doing from now, just enablers to make us be effective. In a hamahama dog. Hello? So we want to appreciate that, but I'm still just worried. This question when we came here first. Why do you think you came here when you were invited? Because when you go back, they'll ask you, ulienda kufanya? What was it? It's a bad question. No, it's a bad one. But why do you are invited? Why do you think you are invited, and not your neighbor? Kuna wale wanatamani ungekuwa ni hao ndio wamekuja. Sasa ile mlienda kwa mkutano jana, kaambia sisi tuko na ingine huko. And some of you also gave leakage, M vitamins, ndio? Sema huko vitamin ni mzuri bwana. Unajua bila pesa wewe si mtu tena zingine pesa. When you are empowered it's better. So what made you come? Was it that M vitamin? That's just an Ebola, isn't it? What made us come? Am I talking to you? Niongeke gusi. Ama Kijaluo, ama Kiluya. My brother, what brought you? Yes? Being the best to implement CBC. Do you have any leader who is not the best? If we were moved in Nyamira, if you ask every head teacher in a school, will they tell you whether they're the best or the worst? Will they say I'm the worst head teacher? No, I'm the best. Even if the school is last, I'm the best what?
As you see, most of the managers were advanced in age. So we are trying to catch up with the technology, and we have really tried. So when it comes to learning also, there are applications that we are going to use. There is a way we are going to navigate now to get to our modules.
The school leaders, especially some of them, they are not, or they don't have the skills in ICT, especially when we see they go out, they go to cyber cafe where most of the documents or most of the secret documents are placed in cybers, which is not good. But I think after this training, the teachers will be more equipped with skills and techniques on how to handle ICT, as most of them, they are not computer compliance.
People have not been out to go and take because they believe they'll be separated from family or something like that, so they are shying away from taking leadership roles.
Only one, which for most things is not a big deal. For example, watching a video. But
Knowledge empowers and opens up horizons. As a school leader, I'm open to all avenues that will pour knowledge into me, and I will use that knowledge to transform myself to become a better manager, better leader, better team leader. We have got one of the things that we were told yesterday, the opening statements, was that type of leadership. And let me quote it, the Kideri, whereby you bring all people on board and put all those ideas in one basket, get a leader who can transform them for the betterment of the child.
Training is important because knowledge is not static, it's very dynamic. It keeps on changing. New content, new policies, new pedagogies are churned every other day. And therefore, that's why it is important to expose oneself in or to trainings, seminars, or anything that is going to empower one professional.
For me, as a school leader, training is everything. Nobody owns knowledge, and knowledge is not static. It keeps on changing and evolving, and the more it evolves, the more you're required to learn. So if you have an open heart to learning, leadership becomes easy. It's one way of making leadership very easy.
Main problem is inadequate resources and even inadequate finance, because CBC requires a lot of materials and resources as compared to the old system, because it's more of activity based, and when something is activity based, it is hands-on.
The first challenges is mobility, where the children are in the institutions. Sometimes the institutions are not mobility friendly, lack of ramps, and so it is not easy for them to move. When we come to the interaction with the gadgets, those learners without the limbs, the upper limbs, those who lack the upper limbs, when it comes to gadgets like computers, there is a big challenge that you can't adapt to any of those computers, and so they miss out that.
I want to say one of the challenges that we experience is on the inadequacy of resources. For example, we are talking about laboratories. When the GSS began, we had no laboratories in our institutions. Here it is a situation where the learners are supposed to conduct experiments. How do they go about these experiments? Those are just case scenarios where we are facing challenges, the inadequacy of resources. In this case, the laboratories are not there.
I've been supporting them through doing development, curriculum development. We sit together, discuss issues about the problems that they are facing. We sit together and discuss. Then we are trying to provide Wi-Fi. We have not had Wi-Fi in the school because of the underfunding. So I'm trying to provide the Wi-Fi for them so that teaching can be easy. Teaching and learning can be easy.
Training is a very important part of growth, and making sure that everything goes on well. Because most of the times there are things that we have learned that are either outdated, changes come, and we need to unlearn them.
So good morning, participants.
Good morning.
Good morning. Maureen, and thanks. Good morning. Good morning. So at this point in time, we would like to start our training, and perhaps we would like to start by a word of prayer. So I want to request one of us to start us off with a word of prayer. You can raise up your hand. We are inviting one of the participants to start us off with a word of prayer this morning. Or can we nominate Maureen? Kindly unmute and start us off with a word of prayer.
Okay, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you this morning with thanksgiving in our hearts. We want to thank you, Father, for the session that you granted unto us this day. We pray that as we start, Jehovah Lord, you may go with us. You may enable us to understand what our facilitators are going to tell us or to teach us. For them that have not joined, I pray, the Overlord, that you may enable them to join the group, the meeting, so that we may continue together. In Jesus' name I pray and believe. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Maureen, for that. And we really appreciate that. So, colleagues, this morning we want to start our training for the next 2 days. And our training for the next 2 days will involve a review of what you've already covered in units 4, 5, and 6. And we will also be looking at how we've managed to work on our reflective journals, amongst other areas of concern regarding the course completion, putting into consideration that at this point in time, we are actually handling our last session for this particular training. Today, I'm joined by a team from Kenya Education Management Institute and our partner, VVOB. And before we start, we would like perhaps to know also the participants who are in the house. This morning, we are joined by participants from Transnzoia County and Isiolo County. So perhaps we could start by getting to know our participants who are in the room. Just raise up your hand, go to the reactions button, and then you can raise up your hand. We get to know all those who are from Transnzoia County. Faith, quite a number. Yeah, we want to see the participants from Transnzoia County. We have only 4. I trust we are more than that from Transnzoia County. Thank you for representing your team. Participants from Isiolo County. Thank you participants from Isiolo. we have Kinadiba, we have from Isiolo, you are few. Kindly marshal your colleagues. Seemingly, colleagues from Isiolo are few. We are requesting those who are in the room to request their colleagues to join us for this important meeting. Being our very last meeting, I would like even also to request the participants from Transnzoia also to talk to your colleagues and of course call them to join this particular meeting. It's a very important meeting. It is our last meeting and we are going to be making some very important announcements regarding course completion and possibly how we exit this particular course. So we are not many of us in the room, and I'm calling upon the concerted efforts of the participants to reach out to their colleagues to try and join us for this particular session. So from this end, we have our colleagues from KEMI, and I would like to invite our colleagues from KEMI, led by Elijah, to say jambo to our participants as we start our day.
Good morning. My name is Raja Karemi, and I'm a trainer with KEMI. We will be co-facilitating with Mr. Kisiru. Karibuni.
Thank you, Elijah. Aquila.
Good morning, participants and colleagues. My name is Aquila Modhomi Kenywa, ICT officer at KEMI. Any issue, query, we are here to sort you out. Thank you.
Thank you, Aquila. Nicholas.
Good evening, good morning, participants. Sorry. My name is Nicholas Kamau, Senior ICT Officer at KEMI. I'll be glad to share this moment that we all cooperate in every endeavor to make the review a successful event. And also, wish you shall also cooperate to finish, and we shall be supporting you everywhere on the way if you have any ICT issues when you're running on yourself and during the session. Thank you.
Thank you. That is the team from KEMI. We are also joined this morning by our partner, VVOB, and I'd like to invite the team to say jambo. Peter, kindly.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Peter Njoroge from VVOB. I'm happy to join the team Isiolo again, and I'm looking forward to a fruitful session today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter. Rebecca.
Good morning, Team Isiolo and Team Transnzoia. Welcome to our session today. Happy to see you again and connect with you. Looking forward to a great learning day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, team. Thank you, team, for those remarks. We want to say that we have a 2 days training, and this training is chunked into a review and reflections for what we've already covered previously, and this is in the form of what we've covered in Unit 4, Unit 5, and Unit 6. And when you look at the program, you can see that day 1, which is today, we are required to do a review of Unit 4, and we are required to actually engage each other online during this particular review session, and the same will be happening later in mid-morning between 11 to 1, 11:15 to 1. The same is going to be happening tomorrow, and tomorrow we shall also be having a closing ceremony, and we expect that we all be around so that we also get to hear the remarks from the senior management of the ministry our account directors of education, and the senior leadership of the Kenya Education Management Institute together with our partners concerning this particular training. Now, I would like perhaps to make a mention of a few things that we are required to adhere to even as we start our training this morning. As you can see, the activities that are before us is that we are supposed to engage on a presentation and make those sessions very interactive. Perhaps to remind you that we shall be assigning you breakout rooms where we shall actually give you activities in the form of discussions, questions you need to look into. So my appeal is that once you are in a breakout room, kindly participate. Once you're in a breakout room, don't mute, unmute, and quickly, like we have always given you the TORs for this, ensure that you get a chairperson, ensure that you get a secretary who will present on behalf of the entire team in the plenary. So I thought it would be very important that I make a mention of this even as we start, so that once we now start the presentation, our discussions on the review, then of course, it is very seamless and we are guided on what is expected of us. Like you all know, breakout rooms take very short time, ideally 10 to 15 minutes. And that is very short time. We are required really to participate and give the very best during that particular session so that we can make them as productive as possible. So I'd like at this point now invite my colleague, Elijah, to start us off with our today's session on review of Unit 4. Over to you, my colleague, Elijah.
So today we are going to begin our 2 days training session by reviewing Unit 4. That is on effective resource management. And before we begin the activities, I would like to give a chance to 1 or 2 people, because when I look at the completion date, some of you have completed all the 6 units, others are still lagging behind. And would like to hear from you when you talk about the effective resource management. What are some of the skills that you gained that you are applying in your institution as a result of going through this unit, or the main concept that you took home with you? When you talk about the effective resource management, what was it all about? What skills did you gain that when we come to your school, we can be able to say that really you went through the effective school leadership course? You just raise up your hand and mention 1 or 2 aspects. Remember, we are taking you through this course so that you can be able to improve your practices in your institution where you are heading. So I believe there is 1 or 2 things that you learned. If you have not started practicing it in your school, you are going to do it. So 1 or 2 people to open their mic and tell us, what did you learn on effective resource management, and you are practicing or you are likely to adopt as a practice in your institution? Just unmute or you raise up your hand. Andrew Omkure. Andrew Omkure or Helen Jerry. Remember, we are calling upon the interactivity doing this. We did not came here to lecture. We came here to share ideas and we drive this and leave you. So we are expecting to hear more from you. For the next 1 hour, you are the one who okay. So kindly unmute and talk. Or else we are going to remain silent for the next 1 hour. Who is willing to talk? Loda Narianya. Unmute.
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
First and foremost, I want to appreciate the course organizers. Personally, I felt it was a good one, especially at the wake of challenges with the senior school teachers, the Gen Zs for that matter. This learner support program and the teacher support programs that we were able to go through, the way to handle the teachers, the way to handle the students was very, very beneficial to us. Personally, I felt I was able to use different approaches to ensure that there was harmony and good working environment in the school, and therefore good learning environment for the students. There was also the bit of financial management, how to keep the financial records. It has actually been a challenge, though we've been taken through some financial management courses. But I think when I was doing it with the course, it enhanced my financial management stability. So actually, the entire course was very beneficial. And I believe I took home quite a good number of good managerial skills, especially for the junior school. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Londa.
Yes.
Thank you very much for those comments. Thank you for those comments and specifically giving us an overview of the benefit you have gained from ESL, and specifically on how to handle learners and teachers, especially in junior school and especially the young teachers in junior school, that through the learner support program, you have gained skill on how to handle them. Also, when we come to records, we are talking over certificate of financial management. There's issue of record. I hope now you'll be able to improve records when they come to accounting in your institution, accounting and reporting. Another person, kindly let us unmute and say something. Yabati.
Yes.
Go on.
One of the major facts that I learned about the effective resource management is the fact of planning before effecting any issue in the school.
Go on.
And this one has helped me so much in the sense that even the fact that I'm able to involve even the school community, even the teachers, the JS teachers, as far as matters concerning the school is concerned. And for that matter also, I am able to run the school in a better way.
Thank you, madam, for saying that through the course you are able to manage school in a better way by engaging the community. And there's something you have said that you have learned that before you initiate anything in your school, you have to begin with planning. Thank you very much, madam. Then, anybody else? Madam Loda, your hand is still up. Don't know whether you have an Loda.
I actually wanted those at the digital literacy bit. The fact that we are also learning or going through the course digitally enhance our digital skills that we were able to transmit the same to our schools. And we are now able to even organize for a meeting with our teachers comfortably, despite the challenges of network and a few other digital challenges. But I think we are able to do it comfortably. We are able to follow the prompts and conduct a successive staff meeting. So digital literacy was also put to us, and I think we shall extend the same to even the learning environment for the students, given that we may be supplied with gadgets, we are able to do it comfortably. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Loda, for that additional input as I come to say that the digital literacy, and I believe you're talking about the Zoom that we took you through, that now you're able to conduct staff meeting using Zoom. That is a plus. And we continue the others to continue to practice good, to continue practice the good practice we have gained. Now we go to Faith Mwema. Faith, unmute.
Okay.
Faith, yes.
Can I be heard?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, thank you. I want to give a reflection of what I've learned on effective resource management. One, the topic was so much profitable in my school because one, we learned more about school planning, whereby I'm able to plan for the limited resources. And also, it has given us an opportunity for the members of the staff and also the board members to learn more about financial literacy. And we are able to put in places the internal control, registers to tracking any resources that come to school and them how they are being used. And the last one, which was so profitable, was about the procurement process. At least I learned something about the procurement process, how to do it, and how to go out about maybe acquisition or if something is no longer needed, how we can dispose it. So at least it has helped us to have that accountability and transparency in our institutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Faith, for that input. I'm happy that you are talking of what you are able to do in your school, but not what you led. That is what I have been looking for to hear from you, what you are doing, but not what you led. One thing, when moment you lead something, you just gain knowledge, but the moment you started doing it, that is a demonstration of skill. So I'm happy for the 3 response. And for those who are reading, although it was gender biased, because I did not hear from any head of institution, a male head of institution. I was expecting to hear from Dida. I was expecting to hear from Helen. Jerry, you want to say something? Helen. Helen.
Yes.
You want to say something?
No.
Okay, thank you. So I'd also expected to hear from David Segol, but now, thank you very much for the 3 who have talked about it. So in this unit, there are several areas that we covered. And those are the areas that we covered, and that is the area that I wanted you to tell me the skill that you have acquired. You talk about introduction to resource management. What does resource management entails? Then the school planning, all the planning you are supposed to have in your school, including the short term, the budget, the long term, the strategic. We also talk about the school improvement plan. We have site plan, all those plans, which are very important when it comes to management of resources. The financial literacy aspect of it, where we talked about the accounting document and reporting. Fabric procurement, and somebody said that now they're able to procure using the laid down guidelines, and also how to dispose the obsolete or excess or inserviceable assets. And also it is important to know the risk. When we are managing resources, there are so many risks that you are likely to face, like risk to do with late payment of fees, natural disaster, catastrophe, and so on. But somebody in the David Seagull is saying, I'm on my way to music festival. I wanted to tell me how you are performing in effective resource management, but wish you all the best as you travel to Meru. Mary Barasa said the unit assisted me follow the correct step in disposing of the old books. Thank you very much, Mary, and I believe you are going to do the same in all aspects of when you are managing resources. So those are the areas, and all those areas are related, especially the area to do with risk. Anything you do in your school has an aspect of risk that you need to know how to deal with it. So the next step I want us to deal with is a very short an activity. You are going to do it in your chat. And in this case, I want you to list all the accounting documents from what you learned. What accounting document have you ensured that they're in place in your school? I know you are taking through various accounting documents that should be there as per the rule, but which of them are in your school? So open your chat in the Zoom and please indicate all the documents that are existing in your school. Just open your chat. Indicate all of them. Don't indicate one. Indicate all of them. Go back to your school. You're head of institution. Go back to your school. Look at your cabinet. I'm not saying that you go physically, but you are now in your office, that you have a school, you have a cabinet whereby, or if you don't have a cabinet, maybe you have something to assist you in those documentation. What do you have in your school that helps you to manage resources, especially financial resources and other assets? Not only finances, but other assets. I did put them on the chat. I'm waiting for the responses. And we are around 28. I'm expecting 28 responses. So far, nobody have responded. Just type them and submit them. Still waiting for the response. Faith Mwema have talked about the cash books, ledger, and store register. Thank you, because we're talking of both. Financial and financial asset. We require documentation for the asset in school, financial, and those are not financial. Edwin Biresh, you are talking of checkbook. But I believe you also wanted to refer to checkbook register. Apart from checkbook register, cash book, and the receipt book. Kipuru Wario, cash book, receipts, bank statement, and payment vouchers. Then Dida Oba, payment vouchers, cash books, ledger. Peter Bugi, you're talking about cash books, inventories, receipts, and attendance register. Thank you. Majority of you forget attendance register. It is part of an accounting document. Helen, you have only written one, receipt books. Yona, invoice, cash memo. Yona, you'll tell us what is a cash memo later. Receipt book and debit note. Then Doreen George, cash book, receipt book, payment voucher, ledger, register and bank statement. I can see the issue of bank statement. It means you usually go for a bank statement. Maureen is talking about storages, Helen, payment book, Obada, cash book. I see now And the class register, but I have included the class register. I'm looking now for any new that I have not mentioned. I can see there is, Mary is talking of register journal, consumable and unconsumable storages and receipt books and inventory. Now there is a book of account, cash book and trial balances. Helen, Jerry have added more cash book, receipt, bank statement, checkbook, vouchers. So now, and also there is Fatuma who have indicated addition of BOM minute books, SIMS minute book. Those are some of the record, the city book. So thank you very much for those who have responded. The majority who have responded. And also there is Peter Gogi have given us a logbook. Yes, logbook. And then Lord Danalianya have we got admission register, support staff master law, and the budget file and the inventory. So let us see those are accounting document. All those you have mentioned, let us see what it entails when we talk about the accounting document. And those are the accounting document, and you have mentioned them. You have talked about the receipts, the invoice, the payment vouchers. We talked about the checkbooks, and also I added the check register, fees register, payroll, bank statement, bank reconciliation statement. Nobody mentioned about bank reconciliation statement. Remember, I said it is important time to time to do bank reconciliation so that you can ensure that every money is accounted for, ledger and trial balance. So those are some of the accounting document that we have. So thank you very much for those who have recorded. And now I want to hand over to Mr. Kisiru to take us through the next part of the session.
Thank you very much, Elijah, for that part of the presentation. Now, colleagues, we would like to proceed with another activity, and this activity will be undertaken in breakout rooms, and our intention is that you will spend 15 minutes. Just like I indicated, your participation is very key in this particular activity. Once in the breakout rooms, we will actually assign you a group. We shall have 4 groups. And since we are not very many, we expect at least all of us to participate. So we are going to be looking at the activity that is actually shared, and our ICT will still share the same activity in our WhatsApp group so that we can be able to follow closely the question that you've been assigned based on the group that you'll be in. So kindly, as we take you into the breakout rooms, we expect that you actively participate and ensure that you get a chair to lead the discussion and the secretary to take the proceedings of the discussions, and the secretary kindly be ready to present the same in the plenary. So I request that our ICT now puts us in the various breakout rooms so that we can carry out those activities. There is a question for each of the groups, and it is quite specific, although linked to the other activity, to the other question. So the reason why we would like to get responses is because your responses will build on what others will also have done, and therefore we will be collaborating and learning from each other. So as you can see, the activity is about, of course, enhancement of delivery of science education and support of the competency-based education, where the ministry has prioritized the construction of a science laboratory in junior schools across the country. The group 1 will be required to identify the various activities that are to be undertaken by the school leaders in preparation of the project. Then group 2, you describe the procurement procedures that a school leader shall explore in undertaking the above project. Then the third group will look at the possible unethical practices that are likely to occur while undertaking this particular project. Then the last group will look at the possible risks that can occur while undertaking the above. So welcome back to the plenary. And thank you for the active participation. At least we were able to manage the discussion, and I believe that all the groups were able to look into the various questions that were assigned to them in the various groups. So at this point in time, we would like to get feedback from the various groups. So I would like to invite the secretary, Group 1, to give us their feedback.
Hello, everybody.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah, the secretary, Group 1, to present what we discussed. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you, Rebecca. We were to identify various activities to be taken by the school leader in preparation for the construction of the science laboratory. One, to engage the stakeholders, have a meeting to sensitize them on the project. Number 2, we can identify the committee which will steer up the project to handle the finances. We also discuss on the need assessment of what do we need if we are constructing that science laboratory, especially the capacity, the features to be included in the science laboratory, and that. We also have to identify how to look for preparation of the architectural design for the lab, approval from the Ministry of Education. Then we have, we give the proposal that we request for proposals or bids to get a qualified contractor, whereby we have to check the compliance to the quality standards of the work. As a school leader, also get the BQ for the same, train the staff on, we train the staff, recruit them so that they can be part of the team that will be undertaking the construction, sensitize the learners also, and finally we can also have a rough budget of what is required in the construction of that science lab. Those are some of the things we discuss as Group 1.
Thank you very much, Faith, for that insightful discussion in terms of how you prepare for that particular project. And I want to concur with the group that you really done a lot of deliberations as to the various activities that are supposed to be undertaken at this at this stage of this project. Ideally, and most importantly, for that group you've mentioned, things to do with planning. And actually, in the planning for that activity, I want to agree with you that you must also actually plan with stakeholders at the back of your minds. You must involve the relevant stakeholders. And remember, the relevant stakeholders in the school, of course, include the board of management, the parents, of course, the ministry, and most importantly, at this point in time, you must also ensure that the resources that will be required for this particular project are available. And that calls for budgeting. And in terms of preparation, you must come up with a budget that will be approved by the relevant authority, in this case, of course, the Board of Management. At the same time, we must also ensure that we come up with a procurement plan. The procurement plan will clearly outline now what in specific materials will be required for this particular project to happen. So most importantly, as key activities for this particular project, we must plan, and in the process of planning, we must execute a budget and ensure that that budget is approved. There must be a procurement plan that is also approved, and that plan, of course, must also highlight the various items that are to be bought for this particular, or to be actually availed for this particular process or part of the project to happen. So thank you very much, Group 1, for that insightful discussion and for really ensuring that you open us up into the first part of this process, which ideally is planning. And let us keep at the back of our minds for this to happen. Then, of course, there must be a budget and there must be communication to the relevant stakeholders. I want to appreciate that team and invite Group 2 to also make their presentation. Group 2.
Am I audible?
Yeah, Violet, we can hear you so well.
Yes, this is Violet, Secretary Group 2. In Group 2, we were exploring procurement process for building a school lab. And the process, first of all, we'll have all the various committees in place. We will have needs identification, then publish the notice or advertise, receive bids, open the bids, evaluate tenders, then there will be a process for awarding. The various committees will do their respective works, because we have a committee for opening, we have committee for evaluating, we have committee for awarding. So when it comes to awarding, then whoever who will have won the bid will be awarded through a letter. After the winner receives the letter, the next process is to write an acceptance letter. Once the acceptance letter is received, then we can go to the last process of contract signing. That is basically the process, procurement process for building school lab. And somehow we had a bit of time, so we shared a bit of scenario challenges that most of us have come across. And it was shared that especially for contracts awarded by the government, the issue of needs identification might really not be followed to the letter, because a member shared where with grade 9 classrooms, fine, it was a need, but probably with some schools that might not have been a need, because she shared that she has a population of over 1,000, was given 6 classrooms of grade 9, but she does not have toilets. So if it was a process to be followed and needs identification would have been one of the requirements, then with them they would have decided to give a need identification to toilet first before classrooms. Another scenario was, and this was shared by a few, especially with the construction of grade 9. I remember everybody who did this, we all went through the same process. And we got to the final part where the committee awarded contracts according to all the qualifications tool that we were using to tick off all the qualifications. But upon the documents being taken to the public works eventually awarded, in some few scenarios, awarded a different contractor to the one that you had awarded. So it becomes a little bit of frustrating. Why go through all the process, then the outcome is not what you had intended. So those are some of the things that we shared in our group 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Violet, for that feedback and for even going next mile to look at the practical aspect of this particular project in terms of where, of course, now the need has already been identified. These are some of the practical issues that you have to deal with as school leaders on the ground, and you must also be fully aware of how to go about them. At this point, I would like to invite my co-facilitator, Bwana Elijah, perhaps to also chip in terms of the processes and the procurement procedures, possibly to identify any gap that that group did not make a mention about, because this is a process that sometimes is discussed like end to end, because there is what you must do from the start up to the very end of this process, and perhaps we would like to fill in the gaps that, of course, Group 2 did not identify. Over to you, my colleague, Elijah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kisiru, and the group for the input that you have given. It's true that you have said anytime you're having a project, and this one is given by the government, that is why you do not have a choice of selecting a toilet. This is a government-initiated program, and the government give you a directive. You don't have a choice but to implement it. But the question you wanted you to answer, now you have been told to construct a science laboratory unit. What are the procedure of procurement? You said you need to prepare the budget because the construction must be in line with the money that you have been given by the government. If it is 2 million, you have to prepare the budget to itemize all the activity you are going to undertake, which must be not be more than 2 million. Then you have to have a procurement plan that must be approved by the board of management. And in fact, it has to be approved first by the committee in charge of infrastructure. Then it is forwarded to board of management for ratification. Then the approved procurement plan, after it is approved, now you begin the process of procurement of the materials. Remember, we said you have the BQ in the initial stages of preparation. So the requisition now is requisition of the material, and the requisition process began. That is when you begin by now preparing the tender document, and you call for the prospective supplier to come and pick the document, and they pay the amount of money they are supposed to pay if it is required, if it is physical document. Then you receive the quotation from the bidders. When they come, you open the bids by constituting an ad hoc opening committee. That is, that is very important. Opening is done by an ad hoc opening committee that is constituted by the head of institution. After they had done work, they are disbanded, and then we have another committee known as tender evaluation. This tender evaluation will do its work of doing preliminary, whereby it will knock out the possible, knock out to qualify, and then evaluate the bids, but they do not award the tender, but they recommend the awarding of the tender to the head of institution. I had some teachers say that they award. They do not award. Award is done by the head of institution. So they just recommend it to you. Then after that, you award notification. You send an award notification for the person who have won, and even you communicate those who did not win. Notification is done to both those who won and those who did not win. But before you sign the contract, give a period of 14 days, known as the appeal window, where to give room for anybody who may be aggrieved. If there is no appeal, that is the time now you sign the contract. This is the head of institution who signed the contract, not the BOM share. And then disposal is the final step. So those are the procedure for procurement. So thank you very much. Now we go to 3, Secretary. Secretary Group 3.
Hello.
Yes.
Group 3, this was our question. Identify the possible unethical practices that can likely occur while undertaking the project. So we came out with a number. Most of them are self-explanatory. The first one was bribery. That somebody may want to bribe to get the tender, irrespective of whether they qualify or not. Number 2, extortion, whereby somebody wants you to give them money before they award you the tender. And then favorism, where a friend or an acquaintance may be preferred. Then we have illegal sourcing. We also had cohesion, conflict of interest, supply of substandard goods or counterfeits, then lack of transparency, not following the procurement procedures, whereby somebody just decides to do things their own way without following the laid down procedures. Then we have accepting suppliers' favors, a breach of confidentiality during the procurement process. We have fraudulent behaviors where false invoices may be submitted. Then splitting contracts to avoid competition. Lack of transparency where information is withheld, like the tender may not even be advertised so that only the preferred people get. And then lack of competition because it has to be competitive. Those are some of the points that we captured. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Josephine. I hope it's Josephine Simiu.
Yes.
For taking us through the possible unethical. You have explained all the unethical practices that we are likely to experience when we are undertaking this project. And one of the things that you mentioned is whereby during the process, you are likely to get what we call the false invoice. You end up paying for like the case of the NYS, you pay for things that were never delivered. It's one of the unethical practices whereby you collude with the supplier because you are getting something in return. The rest of the point you have explained, but there is something you talked about, the splitting of tender. Don't know whether, Madam, you can, what do you mean by splitting of tender? Or anybody else, what is splitting of tender? Give us an example. Splitting of tender. What do you mean by splitting of tender? When you are taking procurement, Helen, you want to say something?
Yes, when you talk about splitting of tender, it's whereby maybe the construction tender is given to one company, then the supply of material is given to another one. Or if one group is making the roof, then there is another one who comes and makes the wall, the other one makes the roof.
So thank you very much. What Madam Helen is saying, when you are having a construction, there are various methods of you are supposed to use. And those methods depend on the amount of money. For example, if you are going to buy anything that does not exceed 50,000 and above, you're supposed to use a method known as low value procurement. You don't need to request for quotation. But the moment you go beyond 50,000 to 6,000, you request for quotation. And since request for quotation is a tedious process that will be run for 3 months, somebody may split it into two, 30,000, 30,000, so that you bend the law and you go for low value procurement, whereby you only buy from a reputable outlet and you maintain a receipt. That is what we mean by splitting of tender. You spread this 60 into 2, 30, 30, so that you're able to use low value procurement instead of request for quotation. So thank you very much for that group. And finally, group 4.
Identify.
Group 4.
Possible. Ethical.
Joseph, are you the one presenting group 4?
This
Oh,
Kiamba.
Kiabati. Kiabati, karibu.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Now, you are trying to answer the question of identifying the possible risks that can occur in the process of undertaking the above process. One, we found that there could be external interferences, that is the political one, and this risks taking the wrong tendering. The second one was that is irregular awarding of the tender, which could lead also to poor workmanship, and this one ends up affecting the whole process or the whole project as a whole. We also found that in the process of implementing the project, the market prices may change, and the completion may not be completed as earlier intended. There's also this fact of poor communication within the stakeholders, whereby now they can lead even to internal squabbles within the stakeholders, and this also will end up affecting the project. This also tells us that in another point is that there could be also insufficient resources that has been awarded for that project, and that also will risk the completion of the project. Another point is that the contractor may be given, the contractor awarded the tender may hurry up the project, and we end up in poor work. There is also the supply, the contractors may lack the expertise of doing the work, and yet they have been awarded the tender, maybe because they were the lowest bidder. Then when there is the lack of involvement of the stakeholders, they lack that ownership, so the maintenance of that project becomes a problem. There is the failure to follow the land down procedure, and this ends up in lack of transparency within even the members, and this again will affect the unity of the stakeholders within that, those who are directly concerned with that project. Then there is also the unclear objectives of the project are affected. Then there could be also, the project also could be affected due to the fact that there's not been, things have not been put very clear concerning the objective of the project. Then another point is that there could be lack of documentation, proper documentation, especially the procurement processes, and those contractors involved can decide to take a step and maybe take a litigation, and then this end up maybe to the court, and that will not be the best wish for anybody. Then the last one is there is the risk of bribery even within the stakeholders, and when this bribery comes over, the project will be done in the wrong way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Kiabati. Let me hand over to Mr. Kisiru to moderate the session.
Thank you, my colleague Elijah, and I want to thank the Secretary Group 4 for that elaborate feedback on the possible risks in the process of procurement, and especially in making reference to the project that we've been discussing. Perhaps now, for that group, we may now look at the possible risks in terms of chunking them or even classifying them, because I've been looking at how you presented them, and perhaps I want to appreciate the team for the good work done. But we could say perhaps we talk about the procurement planning risks. And when we talk about the procurement planning risks, then of course we are making reference to inadequate needs assessment, and where we fail to accurately determine what goods or services are required, leading to over or under procurement, or even poor budgeting and or cost estimation. And these will, of course, lead to procurement exits, or even omission of essential costs, or even unrealistic timelines. And this could cause actually rushed procurement or even project delays. There are also what we call the legal and compliant risks. And of course, here is when we don't comply with the procurement laws, when we breach the Public Procurement Act, Disposal Act of 2015, that can lead to legal sanctions, where we also violate ethical standards, and of course involve ourselves into issues like corruption, bribery, favoritism. But there's also lack of proper documentation, like Madam has actually correctly put it. And this exposes the process to audit queries and other legal disputes. We could also have what we call the supplier-related risks. And of course, these could be issues like unqualified or even unreliable suppliers. As these are suppliers who may fail to deliver on time or even deliver substandard goods. We have supplier insolvency or even bankruptcy, where of course they are not even able to make delivery, and that might even necessitate or create a need for tendering, because they are not able to really meet, of course, their obligations as suppliers. We could also have over-dependency on a single supplier, single sourcing, and this limits, of course, now competition and increases vulnerability to disruptions and quality, which is a key, of course, aspect in procurement. We can also talk about the operational and process risks, like now the poor contract management, where we fail to monitor delivery, of course, timelines, because in this process, there is even committees set, committees that are set to ensure that, of course, like inspection and acceptance committee, that is actually, whose mandate is actually to monitor what has been actually delivered in terms of timeliness, in terms of quality, in terms of quantity, in terms of documentation. So poor contract management, where we do not set up the requisite committees, may lead to failure to monitor delivery timelines, quality of goods and services as well. Then we also have risks around weak internal controls that may lead to increase of risks of fraud, manipulation, or even errors, or even manual processes within our institutions that can lead to delays in efficiency and tempering. Then we also have risks around, of course, resources like money, financial risks, where we have now risks like cost overruns, where, of course, now the final expenditure, like, of course, I remember my colleague talking about if the budget set aside is 2 million, then we must also actually correctly budget for not for materials not exceeding that amount of money. So where we have cost overruns, then of course the final expenditure will exceed the approved budget, and then of course automatically this will now become a financial risk. We have payment delays that may lead to penalties, or even litigation by suppliers, loss of supplier goodwill, and all that, or even what we call fraudulent invoicing, where suppliers bill for goods not delivered or even inflate costs. So these are actually risks that are associated with finances. And lastly, we have possibly what we call now strategic or reputational risks. And of course, now here we are talking about poor public perception, where of course the process lacks transparency, or of course stakeholders suspect issues like corruption, political interference, which you also mentioned, which might derail procurement priorities or favor unqualified suppliers because of that kind of some influence. And then misalignment with organizational goals, where of course now you now fail to really focus on the project that of course had been identified. Remember, in this case, the project that was identified was the construction of a science lab. And when we misalign actually our organizational goals, then of course we are doing procurement that is not supporting the project that had so far been identified. So thank you so much for that opportunity, my colleague Elijah, just to really, of course, package this particular section on the risks. And perhaps now you could take us to the next level of our review.
So the last part of this session is where you are expected to undertake an extended learning activity, which will constitute part of your e-portfolio. And this case, you're supposed to prepare a procurement plan for two essential items, that is the rice and exercise book. And there should be a complete procurement plan up to the approval by the school board of management. And then after you have done that, you are supposed to take an image. You upload it in the blogger and then you reflect on it. Don't just upload an image of the plan, reflect on it. Then after you have done that, you update your blogger so that you'll be able to see the updated aspect of your e-portfolio. Then you copy the link and you put it in our e-learning app, that is Kemi e-learning app. That will constitute the e-portfolio for this unit. So that is what is expected of you. And I believe you have done that because you are coming to the closure of this training or the course. So make sure that you do that as soon as possible. So thank you very much for participating in this session. And this unit is very important because you need to manage your resources very well so that you are able to implement competence-based education effectively in your institution. Without proper management of resources, then there will be an issue to do with the implementation of CBE by doing all what we have done, from planning, keeping records, following the procurement procedures, and also effectively implementing the required project by the government in line with the laid down legal framework, guidance, and the circulars from the Minister of Education. So thank you very much, and let us meet at 11:20 for the Unit 5 review. Thank you very much. So, I want to welcome back all of us so that we begin our second session. So by the show of hand, can I see those people who are in the room? So those who are present, I wanted through a show of hand to know who is in the room so that we begin. Three. And see Yona, Loda, Helen. Where are the rest? So I want us to begin with our next our session so that we'll be able to finish in time. And then before we begin with our next session, it is unfortunate not all of us are. I wanted us to hear. Thank you, Peter, for establishing your presence. I want us to have a short discussion before we go to the main session. On the session is on learner and staff welfare. But before we deal with learner and staff welfare, up to now we have established that some of you have issues to do with the e-portfolio. And specifically, we don't know why some of you are stuck when it comes to e-portfolio. And at this point, we want to open the floor to all of you so that you tell us what are some of the issues that you are going through that are preventing you from progressing, especially the team from Isiolo. The team from Isiolo, even from the ranking of completion rate, you are the one lagging behind. We don't know why, but now, can we hear from you why some of you have not completed, what could be the issue, and how we can address them? So if you have a question, if something you want to raise up your hand, you unmute, and within the next few minutes, we can have a discussion on some of the issues that we are going through. You unmute. And preferably on e-portfolio or any other challenges that you are facing. I know Team Transnzoia, you are almost there. I learned this morning you are about 8 of you are remaining to have 100% completion for those who have been consistent in learning. But Isiolo, your performance is at a 20%. What are the challenges you are facing? Goda?
Yes, I had a problem with my phone. It's not a big challenge, but I've been out of network for the past, I think almost 2 months. I had a problem with my phone. It's only the day before that I got a new one. Now I think I'll continue complete.
So for the last 2 months,
Yes, I've not been in the area of network, and I even had a problem with my phone. So now I'm back, and I hope I'll finish in the next in the next 2 days. I'll be through with the e-portfolios and even the course. I have no challenge with the posting using e-portfolio.
So, Hanakano Godana, I have taken your name.
Yes.
Within the next 3 days, I'll check.
Actually, even right now, we are in another training being conducted by Dignitas here in Isiolo. Most of us are in training. We just left the hall and came out so that we can be able to follow up the issue here. Otherwise, after this training, I think the training will continue up to Friday. But in the evening, I'll try to push so that by Friday, I'll be through with the courses.
Is it possible to push also your colleague from Isiolo?
Yeah, actually, we are together. We have left the hall. We are all together here. We are also they are also listening. So we are pushing each other so that we can be able to complete.
Even those who are not in the training, kindly
Yes.
through your forums.
Yes.
You know, it is unfortunate to be appointed by the county director of education to participate. I think then we said the report that those who are selected never completed. How do you expect the county director will respond?
She should not feel happy, but remember there is one participant who has already retired, Karayu, somebody Karayu down there.
Oh,
he has
Karayu
retired. Yes, so
Karayu
he's still
retired.
He has retired long time.
Okay, minus Karayu and the two have retired.
Yeah, I
Let
think
us motivate.
Yeah.
Let us motivate each other.
They appear down there. They appear down there. I think it's better for you to remove Karayu and the other person who are retired.
No problem. We'll take care of that. But the rest, I did
Yeah,
push them.
we are together. Actually, we are together. We have left that training. Now we are in this meeting, and they are
Thank
listening
you.
also. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Harakan, for that sincere. I know majority could not have spoken the way you have spoken.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Anybody else who may have a specific challenge that is preventing him or her from finishing the course? It may not be a phone, it may not be anything that would like us to address. Unmute, because I have the statistic. Even if you don't respond, I have a statistic. I can tell somebody who is in this meeting but has never logged in. Somebody who is in this meeting but is stuck in Unit 1. So tell us, why are you stuck in Unit 1? Tell us why you never logged in and you're in this meeting. You don't have to tell us that you never logged, but what are the challenges you are facing without telling us where you are? Most of the team is Isiolo. Joseph. Garasalasho. Joseph?
My
Joseph, unmute. Joseph, unmute, please. Don't know whether Joseph have a network challenge. He was trying to speak. I wanted to hear from Joseph, especially the team from Isiolo. So when Joseph, you find an opportunity, you can speak to us. Yes, Joseph, go on.
At the beginning of the session, my issue is big with my phone. The problem is, I think we have tried together. We have registered this phone. Is totally. I've even went to the subscriber Safaricom. I have a very big challenge in terms of even to access the Kemi app. The moment we put the Kemi app on, the phone will lock itself. Then I was advised this phone, I don't know, it cannot absorb the the content of the KEMI. But for
Joseph Yarusenyu. Joseph, yeah, I think we have Joseph has a, but we have Joseph is telling us that his phone has completely failed him. He cannot access the KEMI app.
yeah.
Which model? Which is that model? You may have a advanced model that I was in Isiolo and there is one phone that had an issue. I can remember I was there. Don't know whether you are still the same person.
Yes, there I am.
But we agreed you looked for another phone. That is what we agreed.
I've not tried. I've not looked for it.
Yes, I can remember.
Yeah.
Now, what are you going to do? Because I want you to finish.
Totally, I don't know.
Is it possible to get another phone? Oh.
I can't promise at the moment.
Yes.
But I will try my best.
Kama ningekuwa karibu tukisoma na yangu.
Oh yeah, it could be so nice.
Because I want you to finish. I don't know what, but I want you to finish.
Oh my good God, I failed totally due to the phone.
Thank you. There is a reason why I know where you are, and that is why I asked that specific question. But now I understand where you are. But try and get another phone or use another person's phone, log in your credentials, and you'll be able to complete the course.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other password before we proceed? Apart from any other password, any general challenge you may be going through? Any general challenge? All of us here, we are okay. Even those who are yet to complete, we are okay. We may have the challenges, maybe you have a lot of work in school. There's no internet where you are. I would like to hear such, whether those are the things that are hindering you from finishing. Yes, Wasike.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Morning.
Yes, I'm not yet done with the assignments. My challenge was that the procurement plan e-portfolio artifact. I really didn't know what to submit because procurement is a long process, which entails a lot of documentation. So that is why I've not completed the work. On the same note, I talked to Madam Paris yesterday. And she promised to send me the template so that I use the template to submit the artifact.
Yeah, because even from the last part of the previous session, you are supposed to prepare just a procurement plan for, is it license what?
And exercise books.
Exercise book. So it is here you are only preparing a procurement plan. You have not even yet started procuring where you require a lot of documentation.
Okay.
And the template, if you have the public procurement regulation of 2020, the template is at the back as an appendix. Yes. Just download the regulation, download the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act of 2015.
I think
you are going to
get to work on it today.
Yes.
Now, she had promised to send me the template online. Yeah, so if not, then I'll have to go your way.
Now, I wish, I don't know whether you contact me, I'll send you the template after this. I don't know how you're going to contact me. I'll send you the template.
Maybe if you can give me your number, but now, how do you send me your
give you my
online?
number. I'll chat you direct. I'm going to give you my number. I'll give you
Okay.
the template immediately after this session.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Masikia. Then we go to Helen. Helen Washana, you had this up.
Yes, I know I've completed, but I don't feel I've done the e-portfolios the way it's supposed to be done, because some of us being in, I'm from a private school, whereby some of these things we are not involved directly. So
Okay.
it comes a challenge. I have the knowledge, yes, but now it comes a challenge in setting some of the things, because it depends fully on the owner of the school. So that's where most of my e-portfolios are missing some photos.
So what are you planning to do? Because I want you to finish.
I have finished, but now the photos are the ones missing.
That is what I'm talking about. You need to now to give us the photos so that you can, because your portfolio is very key. We need those photos and you reflect on them.
I'll try my best to see if I can get some from the album.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Those who have been able to, I know you have so many challenges, and if you stay with your challenge, then it will prevent you from completing. If there is no other person willing to share with us their challenges, now I want to request my colleague, Mr. Kisiru, to kick us off with the session.
Thank you very much, Elijah, for that opportunity. And colleagues, thank you for sharing the challenges that you are so facing, even as you try to walk the journey of this particular course. We want at this point to encourage all of us to actually dedicate some little time and effort towards this very course, because our intention is to have all of us complete 100%. Looking at what our colleague, perhaps as I make reference to what my colleague has just been sharing with you about, Peter has just posted our progress on the chat box, and I'm glad that when we look at Transnzoia, we are almost making it with less than around less than 10 participants who have not completed the entire course in terms of self-paced learning. So when you look at our colleagues in Isiolo, the participation and the completion rates are actually very worrying. And we've listened to Kina Joseph and others who have actually expressed their challenges. However, let us take some effort. Let us make some effort to ensure that we actually complete this course. It is envisaged that the same group that the county director appointed to participate in this course should be able to actually not disappoint the leadership of the county. And that being the case, we would like to encourage all of us to dedicate some time during this holiday to ensure that at least this course is completed as envisaged. So take it upon yourselves and take it as a good challenge. That it's good that the leadership of the county identified you as a school leader who is able to go through this particular training, and therefore kindly find time and complete. Now, coming back to Obanda's question, perhaps before we move on, we can hear perhaps what your issue is all about. Obanda John, kindly unmute and possibly share your concern.
Yes, my concern is that part of the procurement of the book and the rice what exactly were we supposed to do? I've finished, but I'm not sure exactly what I was supposed to have done.
Yes.
That part of procurement of textbooks and rice. Though I distributed, but I'm not.
Okay. I think we are not getting you clearly. Perhaps I would suggest that you put your concern in the chat box. We will be able to look into it and respond to you during this particular training. So in the interest of time, in case you have any challenge, in case you have any issue that you would like to raise, kindly put it in the chat box. We will pick it up from there and respond to it even as we move towards the end of the review session. So this morning, we want to look at we want to look at staff and learner and staff welfare as part of what we learned, and we would like to perhaps get some insights into what you are able to learn on this particular unit. Perhaps we can share in our chat box what, or even you can raise up your hand and recap for us what you learned about this, what you learned about in this particular unit, learner and staff welfare, even before we look into perhaps what we've prepared for you this during this session. Who can do that? Who can take up that challenge to tell us briefly what learner and staff welfare is all about? Kindly raise up your hand. Who can briefly tell us what learner and staff welfare is all about? Unit 5. I can see Transnzoia, you almost there, all of you. You must have gone through this, and of course we were also trained on this. So what was this unit about? Just briefly. Yes. Faith. Kindly proceed, Faith.
Thank you. Under learner and staff welfare, this is about the promotion of the well-being of the learners and of the staff, to make the work-life to balance for the staff, job satisfaction for the staff, make the school to be safe for the learners, the school to be safe workplace for the staff, and also to look at some of the challenges that maybe the learners have and the staff, so that we can help them to support, to come up with the challenge. We can help them to identify the challenges, help them to navigate through the challenges, and have a well-learning institution and a good place to work. That's what we learned. And for us, for example, in my school, we try to look at the welfare of the staff. How can they be motivated in case they have anything like something to joyous, we can join. If somebody is bereaved, we can also have that support. The learners, we have come up with maybe guidance and counseling. We also have that the feeding program. We also have those. We support the learners who have difficulties, and also we make the working environment conducive, even through that interaction with the learners and the staff, so that we can support them and have a good working environment. Thank you.
Oh, great. Faith, you seemingly are exceeding expectations. And I want to really appreciate you for that.
Thank you, sir.
Because ideally, when you talk about learner and staff welfare, it ideally is all about what you've mentioned. And I'm glad that even as at HOI, you've gone to that extent of ensuring that this is very practical in your school. Generally, when we talk about the learner and staff welfare, we want to make a mention to the general well-being of the learners and of the staff, just to ensure that, of course, you cultivate a good environment that will foster performance of both staff and the learners in terms of ensuring that the learning environment, the work environment for the staff is also well catered for, and generally to ensure that the environment for learning and for work is also safe. Therefore, all that is geared towards ensuring that we have learning taking place in an environment, in an atmosphere that is fulfilling for both learners and well-being. And that calls now for programs, just like you've mentioned, that now calls for programs to ensure that all these things are actually happening. And I'm glad that you've gone to the extent of mentioning that, of course, even to support learners, you've actually welfare initiatives to support the needy learners. You have even put in place programs to offer psychosocial support, things like guidance and counseling, and all this. So you are right, and I want to appreciate you. This is just the spirit to ensure that, of course, we cultivate a conducive learning environment that will foster performance for both learners and staff. And ideally, the issue is to ensure that at the end of it all, we ensure that the learning outcomes are also achieved. So these are the areas that, of course, Faith mentioned, because you talked about psychosocial support for learners, and ideally this is actually espoused in programs like guidance and counseling, programs like mentorship. When we talk about school health and safety, which you also rightly mentioned, then of course, you also talked about the school feeding programs, ensuring that, of course, the environment for learning is also safe. Then talked about staff management, and the staff management, of course, here we want to take care of the needs of our staff, both teaching and support staff, in terms of their welfare, in terms of ensuring that we support them where they need support, to ensure that is what we call work-life balance. And therefore, this is to just, of course, now ground has, or give a good ground for what we are supposed to really look at it to this particular unit. So I know, Faith, you've mentioned rightly why we give a priority for the learner and the staff on matters safety in school management. But we could also be willing to hear more from your colleagues why it would be important for you at your level as a school leader. Why would you actually make it a priority for you as a school leader to ensure that the safety for both the learner and staff in the management of the affairs of the school? So perhaps let's get some feedback. Either you can raise up your hand and share with us. Give us a reason why you feel that it is important for you as a school leader to prioritize why the safety of both the learners and staff is important in your dispensation as a school leader. So let's also get some more sharing from colleagues. Rhoda, yes, Rhoda?
Thank you, sir. I want to appreciate the presentation that Faith has given. and also support that our staff that is motivated has productivity raised. When we are working together, the support staff and the teaching staff, if the environment is not friendly, then that means their production will go low. But if they are motivated, even when they are lowly paid, they understand that they are lowly paid, but they are appreciated. Every bit of work they put in, they put it with a lot of enthusiasm, and they feel they are at the right place. And for the part of the learners, learners that we meet at school come from different backgrounds, from different challenges. And when they come to a school that is friendly, they really appreciate being in school, and they give their all, and they appreciate the learning. If the learning is the environment is safe for them, they would even prefer to be at school than being at home. So you find that a school that is learner friendly, the learners are motivated, and the transition rate, the access rate is high compared to a school that learners are not well motivated and with a non-friendly environment. So for example, the psychosocial support. There are learners who may even be coming from home. They may never even be able to have uniforms. But you find that if the school is friendly, you find that even the other learners can contribute and buy uniform for their friends. There's maybe like a feeding program. They feel they are at the same level, and they feel they are well taken care of. They love school, apparently. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhoda, for that discussion and for that feedback on why we would actually prioritize the safety of the learners in a school environment, ideally to optimize performance and to make sure that they actually belong. Because it's until when we have this kind of an environment that, of course, the learning outcomes will be actually achieved. Thank you very much. We could also have one more sharing, and perhaps where is the boy child in this class? We've had a lot of sharing since morning from the girl child, and I think we are also represented by male school leaders here. Perhaps I could hear from one of the male school leaders why it is important to prioritize staff welfare in school management. One of our male school leaders to represent the boy child in this class. Obanda, yes, coming to assist. Kindly proceed, Obanda.
Yes. I think that will boost productivity amongst the staff. First point. Number two, it can also foster the togetherness. They feel they can be one community at the school. And then it can also reduce absenteeism and boost productivity. And that's what I have.
Thank you, Obanda, for that. Ideally, when you prioritize, of course, staff welfare in school management, ideally that leads to motivation, and motivation is a direct indicator of performance. So thank you, colleagues, for that sharing, and perhaps we have every other good reason why as school leaders, we need to ensure that, of course, we take care of the welfare of our learners, the welfare of our staff, because as you can see from the discussions that are happening, and from the time we start giving a background to this particular session, that, of course, all this is tied to performance. All this is tied to performance, and it is important that we actually ensure that we institute, of course, learner and staff welfare programs in our learning institutions. At this point in time, colleagues, I would like us to look into some activity, and this activity will be undertaken in breakout rooms. We have 4 breakout rooms, just like we had in the morning, and each of the breakout rooms has a specific activity that they are required to look at. We will take around 15 minutes in the breakout rooms, and kindly, when you find yourself in a specific breakout room, my request, just like we've always done before, is that you quickly get a leadership of that group in the form of a chairperson and a secretary who will take notes to present in the plenary. So we will give you actually items that will also make us dig deeper into this, of course, idea of learner and staff welfare in this particular unit. And we shall be sharing in the plenary to all of us so that, of course, we can have a different feeling of quite a number of issues affecting learner and staff welfare. So we will do this in the form of discussions in groups, and finally, we make a presentation. So I would request our ICT to take us and to share these particular questions in our group so that, of course, we can be able to make a close follow-up of where or what kind of activity we are required to undertake in the specific group we shall be assigned to. Kindly let us maximize time and give the very best in form of feedback in our discussion groups. Over to you, ICT. So thank you and welcome back to the plenary, and it's my hope that we had fruitful discussions in our breakout rooms. Now we would like to get feedback from the various groups, and I would like to invite my colleague Elijah to lead us in the moderation of this particular session.
We are going to begin with room 1.
Okay.
And room 1, I would like to request Naftali, the secretary, to give us.
Okay. In room 1, we were tasked with identifying the psychosocial challenges that learners face in our school. And one of them
yes,
is and also the intervention to address the same challenges.
Okay, go
Number
on.
1, we came with poverty-related issues like hunger, whereby the learners may have, they fail to get even 1 or 2 meals a day. Then the solution was we actually start learner support program like the school feeding program in our schools. Number 2, we had issues related to abuse at home, like bullying, which can happen at even in school. Then the intervention measure here is we subject these learners to guidance and counseling, and also we create child-friendly schools to support the learners and deter them from bullying others. Number 3, we had issue of social isolation, whereby the intervention measure here is we talked about there is parental involvement. We also have what we call surrogate parenting to overcome the challenges. On top of the same, we create also a child-friendly school. There is another point of low self-esteem as a challenge, as a social challenge that learners face, whereby we also came up with engage these learners in debates, music, club activities, which will also improve their self-esteem. Another point we talked about is family background, where we have serious family dynamics, where we have different challenges at home, which is coupled with it also related to drug abuse issues, whereby we also said we need to engage the parents, and also we need also to come up with the guidance and counseling as an intervention measure. Then there is another point here whereby we discuss about pressure to perform, which actually leads to anxiety and stress. Then as a psychosocial challenge that learners face, which we also came up with, we need to have individualized education program, IEEP, which is very much flexible, and also let us avoid to overload learners with work overloads at our schools. We also need to motivate them so that they can have that liking to learn. And then we also have another point our group came up with is unpredictable or presented weather changes, which is that one where we have maybe floods and other challenges related to the weather, which actually needs to be, the intervention measure is that we need to communicate earlier when those challenges are anticipated so that the learners can be moved to safer places. And then we also have pressure, peer pressure, and risk behavior from the learners. Here, the group talked about parental involvement and guidance and counseling, and also we need to have what we call community service learning as some of the intervention measures. Thank you. That's what we had as from our group.
Let me thanks that group. I was in that group, and that group, all of you participated, and that was very encouraging. All of you participated in that discussion, and that is why you were able to come up with those points and intervention. And all those points, I just want to make a quick summary of all what you have talked about. We can group all what Naftali have talked about into three categories. One is home and family factors that can cause psychosocial support. We talk about home and family factors. We are talking of things like parental conflict at home, where the parent are fighting all the time. That will affect the learner psychologically. And in case the child is neglected or is abused at home, can be physical, emotional, or sexual. Also, the issue of apathy in some of our families. And kindly, if your mic is on, we request you to mute. If your mic is on, kindly mute. Poverty and insecurity may be a factor at home, whereby the family is not able to provide basic need to the learner, making it difficult for learner to attend school. The other category is what we are calling the peer and social pressure. You have talked about them like bullying, pressure to conform, whereby everybody is at a certain age, you are being pressured by your peers to conform to certain identity, certain social expectation. What we call now, learners may be undergoing what we call the identity crisis. It is a problem, especially in junior school. And in case in your school you do not provide the learners with role models, they may not be able to relate themselves with any person. Others are school-based. Some of the things that you have talked about are school-based, like academic pressure, whereby the environment is not supported, and that is why majority in that group are talking of creating child-friendly school. In your school, there is no guidance and counseling, meaning there is inadequate psychosocial support, and there is a lot of academic stress. You have talked about, Naftali have talked about it. And we have things like emotional factors like low self-esteem, it have been talked about, grief and loss, in case there is grief and loss, mental health issues. And then issue to do with the society can also be a problem, whereby there is stigma in case the learners are not able to express themselves. And in case the learner have disability issues, may experience what we call the gender disparity, psychosocial support. So overall, for you to support them, have guidance and counseling. Let there be peer support program in your institution. Engage the family, that is family and community engagement, engage them. Also let the faith-based leaders to come and talk to learners, especially on issues to do with spiritual matter. And when you come to your school, make sure that you have a policy that supports the wellness among the learners. Those are some of the few things I wanted to add in that case. So thank you very much. And I request Mr. Kisiru to moderate group 2.
Thank you, Elijah, for that opportunity. Now I want to welcome Group 2. I think Group 2, they were led by Faith. So you can actually share with us what we able to gather for the team.
Okay, thank you, sir. In Group 2, we were dealing with challenges the schools face in creating safe and supporting environment for the learners and staff. And the first thing which dominated the discussion was limited resources. The limited resources in the school gives us a challenge because we are not able to come up with the required infrastructure which are safe and conducive for the learning and also the working of the workers. For example, with limited resources will enable us not to have decent and good classrooms, like the toilets, whereby it's a challenge because they need to be well built, the floors need to be well, but when there are no resources, those things cannot be availed. Number 2, we also discuss on the learners and also the staff. And some of them are not sensitive about their own safety because safety starts with oneself. So you will find that they are not careful about their safety. For example, somebody can be, because of the terrain, somebody can be walking or can decide to go into a ditch, and that one is also a safety threat. Somebody talks about natural calamities, where we talked of maybe during the dry season and mostly probably during the rain season. The rains are here with us and they are a threat to the safety. You'll find that the rainwater may be going into the classes, which becomes inhabitable, or the rainwater going into the toilets are sinking, and that is a calamity which is making us to have a challenge of the safety in our environment. We also have a challenge of remote areas. There are some of the areas which are hilly, others they are valleys. So like an institution is set in a place whereby the ground is uneven, that is also a challenge of the remote areas and the topography of the school. Then another challenge is lack of enough support from the school management, whereby if we prioritize for safe learning environment, maybe the management are not willing to give us support and also the stakeholders. Another challenge is inadequate facilities and insecure buildings, like our colleagues from Turkana are talking about it, from Isiolo are talking about it. Insecure buildings and inadequate facilities, which will give us overcrowded classes, which are not safe for learning. Then we discussed about some strategies. One, we said it's good to involve the stakeholders on the need for school safety, and they can help in mobilizing resources from the stakeholders, whereby the environment of the school can be improved to be secure. Then we talked about the government can step up the provision of the resources and provide resources for building some facilities like classes and toilets so that the school can be secure. And lastly, we talked of we have sensitization of the learners on safety drills on how they can take care of themselves and how they can live in a safe environment. That's what we discussed, despite we had challenges with echoes and all that. Thank you.
Thank you, Faith, for that feedback from Group 2, and I want to appreciate your leadership, and even Joseph, who had a lot of challenge from Isiolo, and your colleagues also for the active participation in the group. Ideally, you are right to clearly mention some of the challenges that, of course, schools face in creating these safe and supportive learning environments for both learners and staff. And ideally, limited resources comes up as a major challenge. And I think we cannot belabor more. You've really tried to explain how limited resources could really hamper the creation of a safe and supportive environment, since, of course, it is the backbone of the establishment of all this, including, of course, now other challenges like inadequate facilities for our learners that leads to overcrowded classrooms and insecure buildings, just like you heard from our colleagues in Isiolo. I also want to agree with the team on that the fact that for us to really overcome some of these challenges, then we must also come up with strategies that will center around, of course, the involvement of stakeholders, and of course, stakeholders in this case for resource mobilization. Perhaps it will be important at this point for me to mention that we need to really be sure and perhaps know the stakeholders that we must also step up into when we are doing resource mobilization. And ideally, the first stakeholder is the parents. We must also involve the parents in this kind of a strategy. We also involve, of course, the management of the school, and this is the BOM. We also ensure that we involve the government and other government partners and even philanthropists as persons who can help us in actually resource mobilization. So resource mobilization has a strategy. I would like perhaps to stress that for it to work out well, we need to reach out to very many stakeholders that can come in to support the school. And these are not limited to even, of course, now the parents, the government, the county government, philanthropists, even as persons who are able to help us in raising resources, and therefore the school community. So I would like us to really also look into the issue of stakeholders from that kind of a lens, so that, of course, when we now want to be really practical in terms of resolving these challenges, then we know who to run to. Sensitization of learners as well, so important, so that, of course, even as we actually get to actually know the kind of challenges that we are also facing in our schools, it's also important also to ensure that the learners themselves, who are our immediate customers within the school environment, are also aware of what they can also be able to do at their own level as learners, to also be in a position to overcome this, which involves giving them information, letting them be aware of information that is likely to also support in terms of overcoming the challenges that they face. Thank you very much, Team 2, for a job well done. At this point, I'd like to welcome Group 3 to also share with us. Secretary Group 3. Secretary Group 3, kindly. Group 3 secretary, who was the Group 3 secretary?
I'm the one. I was typing my notes on the chat and I can't find them.
Okay, just Rhoda, proceed.
My notes have disappeared. Okay, thank you. I think they've been swallowed somewhere. Now, the first question was.
And you are in a noisy background.
That's why I was saying I'm traveling.
Oh.
I'm traveling. That's why I was avoiding, but I participated, but I was avoiding being the secretary.
It's
Now, my
okay, we
notes have
will be able
disappeared.
to. Okay, it's
My,
fine.
is it able? Are you able to pop up my notes? They are on the charts for everyone.
Yeah, we can.
Kindly.
Yeah, your notes are on the chat. You've been able to post.
Now I can't read through them. The first one disappeared. Now the first question, our first question was. Kindly help me get the question back.
The question was about identifying the key components of school health and safety.
Yeah.
And then
now the components. The components that we were able to discuss were one, psychosocial support. And we talked about things like guiding and counseling. Then there was safety, safe environment. Now, I don't know whether I can't see them, the notes. Someone help me.
Perhaps, I don't know whether there is another member of your team who can be able to share on behalf of the group what you came up with, because you're in a noisy environment. Just in 2 minutes, kindly.
Is it okay for me to have my notes back on the chat?
What we are proposing, Rhoda.
Yes. Okay. Have, another member. Okay, it's all right. Let another member present them.
Ask Kiambati to do that.
Yes.
Kiambati. Yes, and you can go back to all that material in the chat. When you go back, it will be there.
Okay, Nalianya. So perhaps I have been able to go to the chat, and I see you've talked about sanitation, and sanitation where we discussed about sufficient and clean water. We've talked about toilets. Nalianya, just mute. So you've talked about toilets and the recommended ratio.
That is part 2 of the question. Part 2 of the question.
That's part 2 of the question.
There was part 1 I had done earlier and posted on the chat. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Perhaps we should be able to look into that, but if in case then therefore we are not able to do that, perhaps we can still give opportunity to group 4, and then we come back to group 3 as a way of winding up.
It is all right, sir.
Let's see what is in the chat. Let's see what is in the chat for part 1 of your question, so that we also don't disadvantage the group in terms of their presentation. So just give us like a minute. We shall be able to identify what you've posted in the chat, so that we really don't disadvantage also the feedback of your team that you have actually posted in the chat forum. And we really want to thank you for the effort. Still, we want to appreciate you for making that effort even as you travel, to ensure that you are part of this class. Asante, Rhoda, and in a minute we should be able to give your feedback to the group. So,
okay, I can see part 1. There is the feeding program, that is nutrition. Number 2, we have psychosocial support, given an example of guiding and counseling. We have safety in the school. And then we say our part B, we were supposed to say why this is important. Having these programs is important. We said it enhances retention of learners in the school, improves performance of the learners, it combats risks, and improves relationships in the school. Then we also said The girl child is supported through their menstrual health. Then there's also improved health in the school if those programs are put in place. Then we, the one that then there is sanitation, improved sanitation and provision of sufficient and clean and safe water. There is a provision of toilets at the recommended ratio. That there is a safe environment, especially for learners with visual impairments and physical impairments, where they're supposed to move in a safe environment to avoid accidents. Then there's safe games and guide learners on safe games during the playtime. Then there is also good drainage should be enhanced in the schools, especially during the. I think that is the much I'm able to present.
Thank you, Rhoda.
I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for that.
Thank you. We appreciate the effort, and perhaps I can summarize that for you. And I want to appreciate your effort even as you travel to participate in the class. The components of school health and safety, perhaps you could lump them into physical environment safety. And here we make a mention of things like infrastructure, water, sanitation, disaster preparedness. We also have health services as another component. And here we invite for screening services by the health departments, where we also invite them for other programs like immunization and counseling, and you've talked about that. Nutrition and food safety, where we also have, of course, elements like school feeding programs. We also have nutrition and education. You also talked about hygiene and sanitation, and you have rightly talked about the toilets, hand washing and menstrual hygiene for our girls, and as well health education, where of course we also talk about life skills education, self-awareness programs, mental and psychosocial care, and here we need to provide supportive climate counseling, stress management, of course, therapies, and at the same time, the stakeholder involvement, where of course now we also talk about health committees, partnerships, and such. So it's important that of course we also get to know that these are anchored, of course, in the Kenya School Health Policy of 2018. And when we are talking about the components of school health and safety, let us also get to also align to the fact that they are also anchored in the legal and policy provisions. In terms of how they contribute to the well-being of the learners within the school environment, of course, we know that these elements, of course, contribute to the protection of the learners from injuries and health hazards, where, of course, now we come up with safe buildings, fire risks management, the reduction of absenteeism, of course, caused by accidents or even exposure to some unhealthy or unsanitary conditions, and also creation of a secure learning atmosphere where students can focus on academics. Of course, you know, under the health services and programs, they help, of course, in early detection of illness. Of course, we talked about screening for communicable diseases, immunization, and all that. Access to healthcare will also reduce dropout rates due to untreated health issues. Of course, nutrition and food safety, of course, will lead to proper nutrition, cognitive functioning. Of course, feeding programs will also combat hunger, malnutrition for the vulnerable learners. And then, of course, hygiene and sanitation, of course, will contribute in the prevention of spread of communicable diseases like cholera, diarrhea, COVID, and such. Clean toilets, menstrual hygiene facilities will ensure dignity for our girls, of course, reducing stigma and absenteeism, and of course, encouraging healthy habits and respect for personal and public hygiene as well. So I think this is how we could actually summarize this particular question for the purposes of maybe aligning where Rhoda was not able to put things into context because of our nature of traveling. Perhaps we can now hear from the last group and then we take the shortest time possible. Group 4, kindly.
Thank you very much. This is
Group 4, go on.
This is what my group came up with, the staff welfare programs that you will put in place to promote the positive work environment. Number one, we came up with lunch programs, which is to be on both teachers and learners. This will make them feel comfortable at school. And to learners, it will make them retain at school. Number two, we also have baby showers for those whose wives have given birth and to madams who have also gone for maternity. Number three, we came up with bereavement for teaching and non-teaching staff, BOM, parents and learners, that we have agreed a certain amount of fee we have to contribute depending on the scope of the bereaved. Number four, we also came up with GNC that we can identify those learners and teachers who are low in spirit during the working sessions. So we talk to them and find out what is disturbing them. Number five, we came up with benchmarking that we could benchmark to other schools that are excelling to at least borrow a leaf from them. Number six, we also have the SNE. We value the SNE by construction of the ramps to feel, so that they can also feel they are valued. Then we also have number seven, trips that we have organized for trips for teachers and learners, at least once a year, so that we can motivate them to feel valued. Then part B of that question was the challenges that school face in implementing the above programs. One, we have come up with some are very rigid in attending the GNC sessions, feeling that they might be victimized. Number two challenge is of a lack of money due to the current capitation in schools. And now that you have actually made them to know that they should be going for a trip at least once in a year, some of them may bring chaos if you don't comply with what you have done. Then number three, we have also come up with the bereavement, some may delay in submissions of what we have agreed. Hence, they actually tend to go beyond the timelines, and hence we may also delay in submissions of what we have agreed to do. Then lastly, we also have come up with some of the teachers incite others not to take part in whatever program we have actually come up with. Thank you so much. That is what the group 4 had. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Barasa, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
For that that presentation and the entire group for coming up with those points. And just want to sum up them. I'm going to look at them from a wider perspective, and especially from what you can do as a school to ensure that the work environment is positive. Here you're talking of work. Let me call it learning and work environment for both learners and staff. One is to ensure that there is positive work environment, ensure there is capacity building opportunities for staff, so that we sensitize them on various issues to do with staff welfare, and sensitize them so they grow even professionally. And also, in case of issue to do with psychological problem in your institution, you can talk of having mental health support program, whereby you offer counseling to do so that the staff you can be able to overcome the issues to do with stress. And also, there is wellness check-in in your school, whereby you can once in a while call medical services or the health service to come and have a check your staff on their health status, like BP, blood sugar, and so on. Then it is also, you talked about motivation, whereby you give incentives to the workers so that you keep them motivated. Also make sure that the work is well distributed in your institution to avoid overloading some staff. Make sure that there is rationalization of work. Then the environment must be safe. Physical environment, building, grounds, school must be safe, and even how the must be safe to ensure that there is no injury. The school should have things like first aid kit in case of injury, and also open communication forum whereby you are open to receive feedback from the staff and learners. That one will promote positive work environment where the staff will feel that they are listened. Then we are talking of things like even the environment where the teachers and staff are working. Look at the furniture they are sitting on. Are they safe in terms of their health, or they just be complaining of backache? And also you talked about team building activity. That is very important. You talked of taking them to a trip. It's a very important aspect. And also, if possible, provide them with flexible work environment. All the challenges, they can be overcome by what Group 2 talked about. Group 2 was discussing what challenges do schools face in creating safe and supporting. Now, in Group 4B, what they give are the solution, like lack of resources. Like you have said, the school may not have enough resources to cater for all those things. The other challenges may be the infrastructure in school does not even cater for people with disability, maybe a challenge. There may be sort of resistance, whereby you give an example where the teachers will incite others from participating. There may be resistance for the change you want to bring in school, or the staff may not be aware of what you are talking about. And also, if you do not have policies that are anchor what you want to do, you may face. Policies are good because they provide consistency. So, and also make sure that you always monitor those challenges so that you address them. So thank you very much, that group, and for all the groups for having given a productive a solution to those questions. Thank you very much. Back to Mr. Kisiru.
Thank you, Elijah. Thank you, Elijah, for actually leading us into that last part of our discussion. And I want to say it was very fruitful. We've really learned a lot from that kind of discussion. And colleagues, now during your safe-based learning, we also gave you an opportunity to also build on a portfolio by providing an avenue for an extended learning activity, where we requested that you prepare a psychosocial support plan for learners and staff in the school and clearly indicate the role of the school leader in the plan. It is our hope that you are still managing this particular task, because it is one of the issues that we would like you to really take a lot of it, give a lot of weight into, considering that in terms of assessment, then the HE portfolio carries 50% of the entire weight of the program. So here you'll be required to, of course, prepare artifacts, come up with artifacts, and upload them in the blogger as part of this assignment. And here I would like you to come up with an image of the prepared plan, a letter forwarding the plan or to the school leader with his or her roles and responsibilities, minutes for teacher sensitization meeting, and any other artifacts that are deemed necessary for this activity. So you will finally save and upload the same in the blogger, then you copy the link and upload it to the Kemi Hub as part of your efforts to submit this task. So it is our hope that you've been able to really work out this. And in case you are facing any challenges in executing this assignment, kindly, we have our support ICT team, and they are always ready to assist you. Kindly get in touch with them and let them assist you actually work out this particular assignment. We've even gone to the extent of giving you an example of how you need to execute this particular assignment by giving you a template of the psychosocial support program that clearly shows what you should actually include in each of the rows and each of the columns. So just make reference to this and ensure that you come up with the right course, the right response for this particular e-portfolio task that we've requested you to undertake. So I think this is a good guidance to all of us. Kindly, in case you have any challenges in executing this, I want to still call upon you to make just call us. You can call your coordinator, you can call your ICT, and they'll be ready to assist you as you execute this particular part of your learning journey. So colleagues, I would like to say that we are now come to the end of our presentation. We've been able to review this particular unit on learner and staff welfare. And just to say that it's important that for us to have optimal performance of both staff and learners, it is good that, of course, we ensure that we provide a positive learning environment that actually offers support to our learners and staff in terms of their social well-being, in terms of their health, in terms of their safety. And therefore, the clarion call that we are making is that as school leaders, kindly let us prioritize the well-being of our learners, the well-being of our staff. Let us ensure that we create a conducive learning environment. And let us, above everything else, also motivate, make sure that our staff are motivated, and these will actually promote the holistic development and improvement of overall performance by both staff and learners within our learning institutions. Otherwise, I want to thank you very much for finding time to be with us during this particular session, and see you tomorrow, same time as today, for our last sessions. Asanteni sana, and may you enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you.